sales books that I've ever read, and that says a lot because I've read several hundred sales books. In fact, I took the old sales books that I read back in the 80s and 90s and turned them on their heads. Now, Oren Klaff wrote Pitch Anything based on his years of experience raising over $400 million pitching venture capital investment banking deals. Now, his approach combines marketing with neuroscience as it examines how we best communicate our ideas and get others on board. Now, here's the key. You have to maintain the alpha position. You have to be the one in control. Don't ever let the customer shift the frame and put themselves in control. You be in charge at all times, and you do it pleasantly. You do it through charm and humor. If they say, I only have 15 minutes, you say, that's great because I only have 12 minutes. Oren describes a typical situation in which a salesperson loses power with a customer. For example, the customer says, hey, I only have 5 minutes, but come on in. You say, and if you say, thank you for your time, I appreciate you finding the few minutes, right then and there, you handed him all the power. Now he's the guy feeding you the crumbs, and you're kissing up to him, happy for receiving the scraps. So here's instead a way to get more power in the exact situation, as well as respect, and increase the likelihood that person is going to buy from you. Hey, I only have 5 minutes, but go ahead. And you say, hey, sorry, I don't work like that. We can reschedule, or we can't reschedule unless I know we can work well together, and I need to know you're the kind of person who can keep appointments. And the customer says, yeah, you're right, sorry, go ahead. So you use a disruptor to break their frame. Use a disruptor. And when you break his controlling frame like that, he will respect you more and listen to you properly. And here's an example. We're not quite ready to order. Call us back in 6 months. So your response is, Mr. Buyer, I know you're trying to save money and I get that, but do you know that you'd be saving a lot more money by ordering right now, right? A final example, he speaks about a pitch he was making to a big-time executive that thought extremely highly of himself, and he was ignoring Oren and eating an apple, and then he put the apple on the table next to them. Oren excused him, stepped outside, grabbed a plastic knife from the table, walked in, cut the apple in half, and took a big bite out of the apple. Then he said, the way we do deals, everybody gets a slice. The guy at first was shocked, and everybody in the room was as well, and then he started bursting out laughing, and he continued his presentation and got the deal. Similarly, if they send in a subordinate to make sure and saying that Mr. Big Shot can't make it, don't try to give the pitch to the subordinates. Tell him that you can give Mr. Big Shot 15 minutes to be there or call it a day and watch them scramble to go get Mr. Big Shot. Now, when we share information, we are using our neocortex. Now, that's the highly developed logical decision-making area of the brain. However, when your audience receives the information, it first travels through what Klaff calls the Croc Brain, the less advanced part of the brain, the emotional part of the brain that's concerned with basic processes of survival and instincts. Only if the information is new and non-threatening, and it does so in this way, it can send the information to the neocortex for more processing. Once the Croc Brain processes it for safety, simplicity, newness, then it passes the information on to the neocortex to process at a deeper level. Following this, we need to craft our pitches to make sure they're received in a way that optimizes the likelihood that our target says yes. Here's some insights. Insights number one, creating hot cognition. Now, if you've been in business for more than about 10 minutes, you figured this much out. The better you are at keeping someone's attention, the more likely that person will be to go for your idea. When creating hot cognition, you're appealing to your target's basic gut instinct. Once you're excited or they're excited about an idea, the feeling is unavoidable. Even if the target doesn't want to outwardly display it, it's also long-lasting because once they're excited about an idea, it's pretty hard to forget that excitement or to pretend that it doesn't exist. Now, here are some different ways to create hot cognition when you pitch. Number one is intrigue. Use a short story, a story to capture the target's attention. The story should be dramatic and have your audience wondering what's next. Number 2 is prizing. Instead of making your target the prize that you are trying to obtain, believe that you are the prize and ask your target to qualify themselves to you instead of the other way around. And number 3, time frame. Set a deadline for when your offer expires. However, be careful. There's one thing that can freeze hot cognition and stop your pitch in its tracks, but if you let your target become the prize that you're working to obtain, you've just become needy. Insight number 2, eradicating neediness. Now, if you talk to investment bankers, the pros that make a living making decisions on million-dollar ideas almost daily, they'll tell you that validation-seeking behavior or neediness is the number 1 deal killer. Now, validation-seeking behaviors are an easy trap to fall into. You're presenting your audience is starting to look bored, doodle pictures on the PowerPoint deck, or look at the clock. When you notice them doing this, your Croc Brain identifies the threat and you become anxious, insecure at the thought of your pitch being unsuccessful. However, as soon as you become anxious or nervous about the outcome of your pitch and try to seek your target's approval, they will feel your neediness. So to counteract this validation-seeking approval, Klaff recommends the Tao of Steve. And in this movie, the Tao of Steve, the main character used his philosophy to attract women, but it applies equally to eradicating neediness during a pitch. And here it is. Number 1, eliminate your desires. It's not necessary to want things. Sometimes you have to let them come to you. So be excellent in the presence of others. Show people the one thing that you're very, very good at, and then withdraw. At the crucial moment when other people are expecting you to come after them, pull away. You say, for example, frankly, I don't know if we're right for each other, but if we are, we can do some amazing things to give you peace of mind. So the one which resonated with me the most in the book was eliminating your desires. Yes, you want to pitch to be successful. Yes, you want the other person to agree with you and you want to do business with them. But remember, it's not about how hard you pitch. It's about the method you use. So follow the pitch anything formula. Do what you do and let them come to you.